Hey Neppers, it's me, Wild Neptune, and in this video, we're gonna go over the 6 ML5 stars that you'll be able to pick from in just a little bit in Epic 7, going over what they're good at, what they're not so good at, and which one is best for you. But before that, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, check me on Twitch at twitch.tv/WildNeptune. Alright, let's get going. There's a lot to cover. As a preface to everything I'm saying, ML5 stars are still relatively rare, the rarest heroes in the game, so you should be focusing on which one is going to give you the most overall longevity compared to getting an immediate boost. Luckily, all of these heroes are pretty late game scaling. A couple of them notably though are going to be good also in the early game. And we will go over the heroes in the order at which I would recommend you take them. So the first hero we will go over is Arbiter Vildred. Arbiter Vildred has survived countless counters, meta shifts, and just an overall meta that has kind of been shaped to make him not as good. And he's still really good. He is one of the most picked DPS heroes in the game, if not the most picked DPS hero. He is good in PvE for stuff like farming, obviously. He's good in raids. He's decent on PvP offense teams in Arena and Guild Wars. He's really good on PvP defense teams for Arena and Guild Wars. And again, in World Arena, he is the top picked DPS for a reason. He is a hero that you always have to consider, am I weak against Arby, or can I just pick him and win the game? So, if you don't know already though, his S3 is a AoE that has a blind chance for 2 turns. His S2 is a passive which will fully revive him if he have Molas after he dies 1 time, and it does have a cooldown which is 5 turns. And also, his S1 hits 2 targets and will have a chance to decrease the combat readiness of the person who is hit. Very strong DPS can be built a myriad of different ways. Counter, speed, full damage. Honestly, sky's the limit for Arbiter Vildred. I don't see him getting any worse anytime soon. He's a great all-around DPS pick that if you do not have him, you should definitely pick up. Next up will be Specter Tenebria. Now, Specter Tenebria is actually pretty close to Arbiter Vildred overall in just pure scaling power. Her strengths, especially on Arena and some Guild War offense teams, actually outshines Arbiter Vildred. In that case, on top of that, in PvE content, while she is worse for things like farming, she is better at stuff like Abyss. And also in Raid, Specter is generally a better hero. Keep in mind though, things like Raid and general PvE, the ease of it makes stuff like that less important than stuff like Arena or Guild Wars or RTA. But Specter is the best DPS for Abyss for most floors, mainly because Poison is, well, very good in that content. Keep in mind though that teams have been made that doesn't use Specter Tenebria that can clear every floor. You just have to build maybe some odd heroes that you might not have before. In World Arena, She is, again, like Arbiter Vildred, a very good hero. She is less splashable in some compositions, so you really have to be drafting around Specter to use her, while Arbiter Vildred is kind of a hole filler, right? So, very close to Arbiter Vildred's power level, but not quite there. I go over her skills really fast though. Her S3 is a single target stun that does some damage, and does increased damage proportional to the number of debuffs on the target. Her S1 hits one target and poisons, but if her S3 is on cooldown, she hits 2 targets instead, which is really good. And her S2 is a passive where she gets a stacking attack and defense buff every time somebody dies. And it's up to 5 times, and this adds up to be quite a bit. So Specter Teneria, again, solid choice to pick from. Number 3 would be Ruel of Light. And Ruel, I would say, is a step down from Arbiter Vildred and Specter Teneria, but still a solid hero. She is the premier reviver in the game right now, bar made Chloe becoming exceptionally meta since her buffs just came out. But her S3 is a full revive or a full heal, depending on who you use it on. S2 is a decent sized heal plus a barrier and a cleanse. Her S1 will heal a target, and Soul Burn you can AoE heal. Ruel has seen a resurgence recently in World Arena. For a little bit, she was actually considered to be a bad pick, but shifts in the way people played and the drafts have made her come back, because who knew that having a really tanky hero that can revive other really tanky heroes is a good thing. She offers a level of safety in stuff like Guild Wars, and to an extent Normal Arena too, even though her users in Normal Arena is a little bit diminished now with the type of defenses that have been being used. But if you just want to win fights with the added safety of, hey, I still have my units for the next Guild War fight, Ruel is a good choice. She's decent for some Abyss too, although not as necessary as maybe something like Specter is, and even Specter, like I said before, is not a necessary unit for Abyss. So, overall, Ruel of Light gonna be a fantastic hero if you play that more tanky, slower style of gameplay. So, the next 3 heroes, they're a good couple of pegs down, I think, from the top 3, and the next one would be Dark Corvus. So Dark Corvus is a special case where, out of all the heroes on this list, he's the only ML5 that can be imprinted using a 4-star, which is Fire Corvus, and considering that Fire Corvus is, well, not good, you shouldn't have any problem just getting the triple S in no time at all. Dark Corvus has an interesting place. He has always been the slow, safe option for a lot of PvE VP, or whatever you call it, like arena offense teams and Guild War offense teams, because given the right setup, you can just Dark Corvus them to death and you can't do anything about it, right? Now, this is again, a safe playstyle. It is also very slow. It takes a long time. So if you want to actually climb an arena and maybe you're looking to say, I can hit Legend, it takes too long to do that, unfortunately. Because Dark Corvus fights, they're like 10-15 minutes long each at times. It's not a good strategy. Other than that, he doesn't really have a lot of PvE capabilities. And in World Arena, he is a okay counter pick. Sometimes if the other team is using a lot of mid damage, say AoEs, but just a Landy and another DPS, oftentimes with the frenzy changes, is enough to kind of out damage his kit these days. So he is also pretty hard to pick, even when you feel like the circumstances might be best suited for him in RTA. So if you do value Guild Wars and normal arena, he's a decent choice, but not really necessary for the format. Next up would be Martial Artist Ken, and find him here. So ML Ken is similar to Corvus in a way that he is very niche in his applications. He basically has 0 PvE applications and will only work for PvP. His skills, as we go over, is an S3, increases attack, and will defense break. His S2, well, if he gets hit, he has a chance to counter, and if he's critical hit, he crits when he counters. Also, his S1 will increase his damage, and also has an attack down, and his S2 counter passive is basically increased by his S1 Mola damage. Now, once upon a time, ML Ken was considered to be the go-to ML5 server in the game, but changes to the game and shifts in what have been used has made him take a back seat. Now, where would he use ML Ken? So, occasionally, and I say more like very rarely, there will be a defense team, I say Guild Wars or Arena, that ML Ken can take advantage of. Also, recently, some players have been experimenting with lifesteal ER ML Ken, so ML Ken would unlike lifesteal set, or maybe another defensive set, with a lot of ER to do things like resist a Tywin and just counter the light boys, the golden boy kit. However, things like dedicated strippers like Cerise, Bryceria on effectiveness, Bazaar with Soulburn, still just kind of ruin ML Ken's overall kit. So he's not really suited towards what the current meta is right now, even on his optimal build. And keep in mind too, that for that optimal build right now, imprints are rather important. More so than, honestly, any other hero on the list. On top of that, his gearing is pretty difficult to do. And it doesn't really matter what build it is. He's probably the hardest hero to gear out of all the units. He also sees relatively probably the least amount of actual play out of the 6. But his peak is higher than the last hero we will go over right now, which is unfortunately also the best looking hero, Judge Kise. Judge Kise, once upon a time, was the premier cleaver in the game, but cleave has become kind of a misnomer now. Cleave is no longer about AoEing things down all at once. It's now about bursting single targets down with big damage that way. That's mainly because a lot of teams and anti-cleave is either really, really tanky or has like ways to kind of mess up AoE cleaving a little bit. But Jujutsu's kit, S3, is an AoE, which has a chance to reduce the cooldown, increase the cooldown of skills of the enemy. Her S2 is a strip with an AoE, and S1 is a defense break on a single target. So, unfortunately, Judge Kise sees no real usage right now, and this is because of a couple of reasons. In World Arena, she really needs a boost and a book, or at least really good setup to see any real usage, unfortunately. Even with her effectiveness build, which is you don't do damage, but instead you go really fast, and you just want to try to strip and reset right away, she still needs a book holder. And for those teams, a lot of times what happens in testing, they will just ban the Judge Kise, and you're basically left with 2 other units that you were just using to maybe support this kind of gimmicky thing that doesn't even work all the time, right? And for the damage comps, Cleave right now is pretty weak in World Arena in the first place, and even when it was strong, Judge Kise just didn't make the cut. There have been other units that have come out, such as Sigrid, even things like LQC have basically eliminated Judge Kise from that DPS slot. And in normal arena, things like Politis have basically destroyed any chance of Judge Kise coming back, at least the way she was being used before. So just kind of a reliance on having really good setup has really put a damper on her overall skill set. So those are the 6 heroes. As a recap, Arby number 1, Specter number 2, Ruel a distant 3rd, and then Dark Corvus, ML5, Judge Kise. Honestly, for the last 3, picking any of them, if you already have the first 3, is probably fine. You're not really gaining or losing a lot compared to missing out on the first 3. If you don't have any of them, Arby, right? But if you just want to play for design, pick the one you want. Do keep in mind though that you can only choose one of them, and you will be able to switch the one that you are using until you fully unlock them. So once you fully unlock it and summon it, that's it, you're done. And that's the one you chose. But try them out, see which one fits you the best if you're not sure. Again, you always free to ask questions on my Twitch channel or my Discord. Anyway, hope this has been informative and helpful to all of you. I'm Neptune. It's been a good one. Nep out.